everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCalSabre here. I'll get this camera adjusted a little bit. Thank you for stopping by today or tonight, whenever you're watching this video. If it's live, leave me some comments. No game today. What we're doing is my third top album review. A little background. Well, I started this project in February, March, April, somewhere around there of 2020 when COVID was running rampant. And I said, I'm going to listen to all of my albums one more time. So the first time I did a review was with 100, and I found that a little heavy. So the second time I got up to 175 records watched, I stopped it and I did another album review of those 75. And now this is another 50, and I'm going to stay at the 50s. So I've watched over 225 albums so far in total. I don't know how many I got. And what I'm doing is I take notes as I'm going along. And this is going to be a review of the albums that I liked for whatever reason. I mean, I probably liked all of them because I bought them at one time or another. But during this review, I like them. It doesn't mean that they're great in quality as far as musicianship or singing. It's just that I got a kick out of them, or, you know, I like them a lot. So we're going to get going here. Got a little bit of an issue working right here anyway. I can't get sharing my monitor right here, my second monitor. And I don't know what I'm going to do. That kind of really ruins this whole thing. No, it doesn't ruin it. Present. All right, we're going to share a screen. Here we go. And this is going to be my third top album review. And let me share this screen. Share a screen. And there we go. It's going to be my top third album review. 50 records. I wanted to pick a top 10 that I really liked the most. That I liked the most. But I'm going to got going. I said I'm going to add a couple more. What do you call it? Honorable mentions to this thing. So let's get ready to go through these honorable mentions first. Okay, first one was a relatively new album to me. Some of these albums have been recently released or old or new to my collection. And this is the Eagles live at the Forum in 1976. I belong to the Amazon Vinyl Record Club. And about every 4 to 6 weeks, they send me a new album out of the 60s and 70s and most of the time are pretty good. I haven't had any duplications. I have had 2 duplications, but I gave them to my grandson. But anyway, and it's 3 sides. It's a double album, but 3 sides. And on the 4th side is just blank. There's nothing there, just blank. First time I had ever run across one of those. I don't know. If anybody else run across any of those? The other one was the next honorable mention I got listed here is Like a Virgin by Madonna, 1984. It hit the #1 in the charts. Okay. She became the first female to sell 5 million copies of a record in the United States. That was a big, big accomplishment. I liked it. Now, I really bopped when this was playing in the house. I was really bopping to a lot of the different songs. They were pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then next up for honorable mention is an album called Big Bam Boom by Hall & Oates from 1984. This was a kind of a change of pace from the stuff that they were putting out. It was a little bit more, sometimes a little more jazzy, sometimes a little more leaning towards a hip hop or something like that. And then it came out in 1984. And it peaked out at #5 in the U.S. with the song Out of Touch becoming a #1 pop hit. I had fun with this one too. You know, any of the ones that didn't make honorable mention probably should have been listed. So what I wanted to list 5. Anyway, the next one is a 1983 album by ZZ Top, Eliminator. This was ZZ Top's most successful release, and it was their 8th studio album. I like ZZ Top. Some people don't like them. You know, some people say that they would rather buy their records and listen to their music than see them live. I don't know. I've never seen them live. I had tickets to see them live, but something happened and I couldn't go. I think it was COVID or something. I don't know. Who knows? Then the last of the honorable mention is The Dance of the Blue Turtles by Sting from 1985. This was his first solo album. and it reached number 2 in the U.S. and was nominated for Album of the Year. Really good songs on it. I really like this album. Sting, I did see him live the Hollywood Bowl back a few years ago. A friend of mine and I went to see him, and he was with Peter Gabriel. And I was driving down there. I think, oh boy, Sting, Peter Gabriel. This is probably going to be a pretty mellow show. No, that show really rocked. They had changed the tempos and the melodies and everything, and it was really, really good. And it's not like we watched Sting in the first, and then we watched Peter Gabriel. They were both on stage at the same time with their bands and everything. One was on the one side of the stage, one was on the other side with their backup singers. And when Peter Gabriel was doing this, playing one of his songs with his group, that his backups would be playing the backups. It was really good. It was a lot of fun, and I was so glad that I probably one of my top 5 concerts ever. All right, so now we're going to get to this top album review here. If you've seen any of these albums, do you have a favorite album? Put it in the comments, even if it's not in this particular list that we're looking at today. So coming in, I already did these honorable mentions. I'll show them to you again. Not in the same order that I read them to you yet, but there they are. Okay, coming in at 10, Crimes of Passion by Pat Benatar, 1980. Wow, this was hit number 2 for 5 weeks. And the reason it couldn't bump into that number 1 slot at that time was because John Lennon had decided to release Double Fantasy around the same time. I guess that was just bad timing, I guess. Crimes of Passion really rocked. Hit me with your best shot. A lot of people say, oh, what a bad song. No, it's just a song. But the song that I really like on the album is called Hell is for Children. It's on side 1. Really, really cool. I just, for some reason, the lyrics and everything caught me years ago, and it's still my favorite on that album. And let's see. All right, we're going to be moving on to number 9. I'm doing this slowly. If you're on there live, leave some comments. Let me know who you are. Okay, number 9. Building the Perfect Beast by Don Henley, 1984. You know what? I just made a mistake. Look at that, folks. I made a mistake. Oh, look at this. I'm going to be shot for this one. I skipped number 9. Hopefully it's in this room. I didn't notice that when I was doing my last edit of the slideshow. Oh, so anyway, we got Building the Perfect Peace at number 8. I'm going to tell you, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen from 1984. It had 7 top 10 hits on it. This is the best-selling album of his career with 30 million albums sold. That was number 9. Now we'll get to Don Henley's Building the Perfect Beast, which was very, very good too, from November of 1984. I like a lot of Henley's music. The album reached number 13, and the album spawned 4 singles, which all reached the top 40 and the top on the Billboard Hot 100. The album was ranked 72 on the Rolling Stone magazine list of the 100 greatest hits of the 80s. Songs like The Boys of Summer, All She Wants to Do Is Dance, and Sunset Grill were featured on this album, along with some other good songs. I really like Sunset Grill. I like the whole album, but I really like Sunset Grill for some reason. I don't know. Who knows why I like things, right? Okay, let's see what we're going to go down to now. What number are we going to hit on my slideshow? There we go. We're getting Bruce. It's a little bit of airtime since I screwed up the slides. It is a good album. I used to be a real big Bruce Springsteen fan, and I'm not so much anymore, but I'll leave those reasons for another day and another discussion. So here we go. I already talked about Bruce again. Let's go back. Let's flip around down here and see what we got. 7. We should have number 7 now. All right. Behind the Sun by Eric Clapton, 1985. Eric, like a lot of you know if you followed my other album reviews, is one of my favorite guitar players. And this was Eric's first collaborative project with Phil Collins, who co-produced the album and played on some of the tracks. I had read the some stuff on it where Phil had said, "Okay, Eric, you're want to get your followers going to you. Start playing that guitar more and play it like you can, and not trying to become the greatest singer in the world, but the best guitarist in the world." I guess it all worked out. Behind the Sun tour. These are just some notes I got for you. It's just a little text flavor, I guess. Was featured at the first Live Aid concert in 1985. And the video for Forever Man became an MTV favorite. This, I believe, finally emphasized his guitar playing, and the rest is history. And that is my number 7, Behind the Sun by Eric Clapton. Do you think that one? Don't like that? Don't like my order? Tell me which ones they should have been number 1. Come on, take a shot out there. All right, here we go. Number 6, Empty Glass by Pete Townshend. Everybody knows Pete Townshend from The Who. So Pete has put out some solo albums, and this was his second one released by Pete, and it's first composed of original material and released in April 1980. I remember this very well. I was living in Belgium at the time. And of course, Pete being from Europe, this was a big hit, big sellers. And so I had to get down to the BX on Saturday morning when it released and pick it up. But the album deals with a lot of dark issues about that Townshend was struggling with at his time, including alcoholism, drug abuse, marital problems, and deceased friends. He was going through a tough time mentally, but he put this all together in a really, really good album. If you ever listen to it on Spotify or something, one of those things that you don't have to go out and buy it. And the death was Keith Moons, The Who's former drummer, died in 1978. He was still dealing with it then. And it took, for some reason, the drummers, when they pass away or leave a band, the band suffers for a long time. For the other example is is Led Zeppelin, when their drummer died, they just disbanded, never got back together. Anyway, Let My Love Open the Door became a top 10 hit in the United States, and the album was ranked 57 on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest songs of the 80s. Like I said, I was living in Belgium at the time, and the songs got a lot of airplay on there, so I had to pick it up because I liked what I heard. So that was my number 6, Empty Glass by Pete Townshend. And I'm already doing my next 50 reviews, but I don't know when I'll get through all of those, so I can't win number 4. And what will happen, and I forget to tell for people who never watched it before, every top 10 song from all of the different reviewers will get together at the end for either a semifinal and a final runoff or something like that. So I pick up my top 10 albums of my whole collection. And here we go. Let's go to number 5. Something's Heavy Going Down by Golden Earring. I really like this group. They really, really rock. They released this in 1984. It was the third live album by this Dutch hard rock band. Their big hits on this album is because it's a live one, were Twilight Zone and Radar Love. They still get a lot of airplay on some of the Sirius and the FM radios from time to time. It peaked on the U.S. charts at 158. I first became aware of their sounds while living in Belgium. They were very much more popular in Europe, and they have produced over 20 albums over the years. I'm not sure if they really are still going or not, but this one was a definite good addition to my collection. That was number 5, Something Heavy Going Down by Golden Earring. Mm-hmm. And people saying, oh, what have we got? So let me get a few people here. Hey, Bruins fan, how's it doing? Thanks for stopping by. She's Waiting is a good song off the Clapton. I agree with you on that one. And Sunset Grill is an excellent song, like you said. I really enjoyed that one off of there. So, as I was saying, that was number 5. Something's Going Down by Golden Earring. And let's see, we got going here at number 4. Victims of Fury by Robin Trower. Now, this one was a little bit hard to for getting used to Robin Trower because his different style of guitar playing was a little bit different for me to get used to. But once I started listening to it several times on the radios, and I really liked it. I went out and picked it. Again, I was living in Europe, and this was the seventh album by Trower's, seventh studio album by Trower. And it reached number 34 in the U.S. charts. This album, my favorite songs on this album are Victims of Love and Roads to Freedom. It's all about them. Robin Trower's got a really unique style of his guitar playing. It's twang or whatever you want to call it. I'm not an expert in that area. That really sound different. You can tell his music immediately when it comes on, even before he sings or before the DJ says anything. But anyway, the next one I got was a real addition to my collection. You know, I got all of these albums. I also have like 600 or 700 CDs, but the only thing this is dealing with is my vinyl albums. And this was a good addition, great addition to my vinyl album collection at number 3, Essential Bob Dylan. Person gave me a gift card, 2 or 3 years ago on Christmas. And I said, what am I going to use this gift card to? So I went up online and I looked and I went up on Best Buy and I found it. And I said, bought it. And I've added it. I've listened to it several times. The songs are just great. All of his old great hits. You know, this particular double album was released in 2000, and it was the inaugural release in Sony Music's The Essentials double compilation series. There's a lot of different essentials out there by different artists and everything, but this was the first one in the series. The vinyl issue, I said this was released in 2000. It was released in 2000 on CD. The vinyl issue was released in 2016, and it contains 23 of Dylan's classic hits. Great addition to my collection. What do you think, Bruins fan? Are you a Bob Dylan fan also? Let me know. You know, a lot of people say, holy macro, look at this old guy. He listens to Bob Dylan. He listens to Golden Earring and Robin Trower. Well, you know, those are heavy metal. There's great songs. At my age, if you think about it, I was born and raised in the 50s when Elvis and Chuck Berry were coming out. I was in my 10, 11, 12, 13 years old and really got into them. So I've been with rock and roll and all of its changes for many years, and I like all different types of music. So that was my number 3, Essential Bob Dylan. Number 2, The Turn of a Friendly Card by the Alan Parsons Project. Now, Alan Parsons originally started out as a sound engineer, and he was involved in some of the biggest hits that came out for Pink Floyd and some other people. Yep, and this was another one that was released when I was in Belgium, and I had to pick it up. There's a song in there, and my daughter was 3 years old, and every time she heard that song, she used to yell, no, no, no. I don't know why, but who knows? She can't answer me today. I brought it up there. She still don't know why. You know, and Alan Parsons has come out on his albums have come out as the Alan Parsons Project, Alan Parsons Live, Alan Parsons. But it doesn't matter to me. Alan Parsons is one of my favorite groups, I probably got. My collection, my music collection contains 11 vinyl albums, 1 CD, and 1 cassette on Alan Parsons. So that right there will tell you how much I like him. But as far as this album goes, the biggest hits and some of my biggest funds is Time, Games People Play Till This Day, which is still the ringtone on my phone. And I also like a game called Maybe a Price to Pay. I think that's the one my daughter might have been mad at. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, Alan Parsons, number 2, The Turn of a Friendly Card. And so this 50 album, here's some of the songs in my notes. I didn't have all my notes. He was involved with the production of notable albums, including the Beatles' Abbey Road, Let It Be, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and debut of an album by Ambrosia in 1975. So he's got some really sound engineer credits behind them. So number one, how did I get to number one? I have no idea. I do really have an idea, but this is really, really hard. This is like when I do my top 10 war board games or something. I'm picking them is very, very hard. You know, if you're hearing what or you're seeing what you like and hearing this stuff, please put comments in the remarks. You know, it always helps the channel. Go down there and hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And watch for my other stuff on the channel. I have different playlists that you can look at for the different, whether it's hockey games, baseball games, football games, and everything. But anyway, go down there. And thanks a lot for stopping by. But here is my number one, a recent release. This is the Animals 2018 Remix by Pink Floyd. Remix, remastered. And it's crazy that it's called the Animals 2018 remix, and there was a lot of infighting still going on, and it did not get released until 2022. And Animals is the 10th studio album by the Pink Floyd. It was originally released in January 1977. I don't know. I guess it got to the top of this list because when it was remastered, I haven't listened to it. I really enjoyed the sound. You know, it's on 180 gram vinyl, remastered, and it's really, really good. You know, I listened to it on my old turntable. Some of you might know that my turntable died on me about 3 weeks ago to it. So I hadn't got much progress in doing other albums, but I got a new one, and I upgraded. And the first album I listened to was a Pink Floyd album, and it just sounded fabulous. It wasn't this one; it was another one. It was fabulous. So, let me see. Pink Floyd is another of my favorites. I would guess is shown. I got 5 vinyl albums and 11 CDs in my music collection by them. In fact, I just picked up another album that isn't in my music yesterday at the record shop. It was a re-release, a remix of Pink Floyd's album, The Metal, which I'll get to. Okay, so watch for my number 4 review in the future after I finish listening to another 50 vinyl albums. Thanks to God. Let me see what God I don't want to shut anybody off here. Oh. Not a Bob Dylan fan. Okay, I respect that. Not everybody likes Dylan. No, I'm not a fan of Bob Dylan's more recent music, and then I did see Bob Dylan live once too. And honestly, I think he was stoned the whole show. And Bruins fan, thank you very much for being a subscriber. I appreciate all my subscribers, new and for those of you who've been with me for 2.5 years now. I started this channel as a thing to do during COVID. And now I guess I'm addicted to it. And I never dreamed it was going to get as big as it did. We're a little bit over 600 subscribers as of this morning. Very much appreciated. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by. As normal, this is SoCalSabres saying take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and stay safe.